Did you hear the story about Annette Echinwoke, the first American woman to win a medal in the hammer throw Olympics? She won a silver. She's going down in history. Guess what? The last Olympics, Annette was actually representing Nigeria because, as you can see from her name, she's Nigerian American. So what exactly happened? I laugh in the mediocrity of Nigerian agency bodies. This is a tale of two exceptional athletes, Annette Echinwoke and Favour Ofili, who have been severely let down by the Athletics Federation of Nigeria and the Nigerian Olympic Committee. Annette Echinwoke is a talented hammer thrower. She experienced, I can't even call it a setback because it's more than a setback, in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics due to the administrative blunders by the AFN. They failed to handle her drug testing protocols correctly. Now this led to her disqualification even before she had a chance to compete. She found out that she was not going to be competing on her birthday when she was in Tokyo. The failure ended her Olympic campaign, but it also, for me, has really highlighted the fact that we have serious issues with our sports administration. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts because the question is, when things like this happen, who should be held accountable, right? We have the AFN, the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, and we have the Nigerian Olympics Committee. Share your thoughts. Comment down below who needs to be responsible when things like this happen. Make sure that you engage because it also helps to make sure that there's accountability and change. We need the right people to see this. So let's get back to this story, right? Annette was faced with, I can't imagine the kind of disappointment she was faced with. You have spent hours and hours and hours in the gym. You've spent years and years and years perfecting your craft. You spent so much money to prepare yourself to go ahead and do this. You qualified. You did everything you were supposed to do, and you're not able to perform. Well, Annette decided that I'm going to change my allegiance to the United States. I'm going to switch to my other citizenship, and her perseverance paid off because at the 2024 Olympics, she won a silver medal. And the irony of it is that medal in 2020 could have been ours because Annette said herself that she was very sure that she was going to win. She was that confident because she's talented in what it is that she does. Now, it's not just only Annette that's had significant issues and had to pay for the failures of the Nigerian Sports Authority bodies, but also Favour Ofili. This is 2024 Olympics. She wasn't able to compete in the 100 meters. Despite having earned her spot, her name was inexplicably left off the official entry list. Favour Ofili expressed her frustration on social media, and she talked about how many hours of hard work and dedication that she had put into preparing for the Olympics. Olympics is the highest level. You have to be the best of the best for your country to go and represent your country. I think we need to ask the Secretary General of the Nigerian Olympics Committee, Honorable Tunde Popola, what's going on with his body? Why did they fail to register Favour Ofili? How did you fail to register an athlete to compete in a specific sport? These issues are not just isolated, but they are incidents that show there's a troubling pattern. I'm gonna go back to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. There were about 10 athletes that were disqualified because the Athletics Federation of Nigeria failed to meet the minimum testing requirements. And when I'm talking about testing requirements, I'm talking about the testing requirements from the World Anti-Doping Agency. Now, they had already warned Nigeria that there's repeated incompetence on our end, on our agency's bodies, where they are not properly documenting and following the anti-doping guidelines to ensure that our athletes will be able to compete in whatever sport it is that they're doing. How many more athletes need to have their dreams shattered before significant changes are made? I think our sports administration, it really needs a comprehensive overhaul, right? Now get this Olympics, it was by the skin on our teeth. It was so close that our athletes were not going to be able to actually compete. Do you know that? Because Nigeria was in a court case with the sports body and had appealed to ask that make sure that we'll be able to compete. Why? Because the Athletics Federation of Nigeria had not complied with on behalf of the athletes. There's a global body called the Athletic Integrity Unit, and they're the ones that provide guidance on whether or not an athletic body is being compliant, right? In 2020, Nigeria was included in Category A. Category A is the worst category you can be listed as for a country by the Athletic Integrity Unit. There are only 8 countries that are in category A. Only 8. And essentially what it means is that your federation is irresponsible. It means that you guys are not doing your doping tests right. It means that you guys have high possibility of doping. It means that you guys are not properly communicating. It means that you're not compliant. So when you're put in category A, when the body feels like your sports agency and the athletes that come from your country, the whole agency is just not being properly run, and there's not communication between this anti-doping agency and your federation, your sports agency, they put you in category A. And you have to undergo 3 no-notice out of competition tests. They have to be conducted 3 weeks apart in the 10 months leading up to any major events. Only then would you be eligible to be able to represent your country in athletics. Now, mind you, you have to understand that the athletes don't do these tests themselves. No, these tests are done by the sports agencies. It's supposed to be done between AFN and the NOC. It's supposed to be done, but it wasn't being done. It wasn't done. This is the reason why Annette was disqualified, because all the administrative pieces, Nigeria wasn't doing it on behalf of their athletes. In order for us to move forward, that's my goal. There needs to be established protocols to make sure that they are managing athletes' entries accordingly and in compliance with international regulations. There needs to be better communication. They need to maintain regular and transparent communication with athletes regarding their status, requirements, changes in regulation. And then there needs to be accountability. There needs to be strict measures for administrative staff who do not do what it is that they're supposed to. You can't just say you're sorry. I remember last year when this thing happened, the body sent a letter to the president and they sent a letter to the athletes and everybody saying they're sorry. Do you know that no serious consequences were paid by the administrative staff that failed to ensure that the athletes were compliant with the anti-doping agency? That's the reason why Annette, when she got to Japan, she now finds that Abajo, she cannot compete. So what's happened now? What's happened? Straight to America. And she's not, you guys realize, like for her to qualify to represent America shows you she's good. Like, America has really solid athletes, right? They have really solid athletic programs as well. So she was actually trying to represent Nigeria because, like, oh, my country, right? Like, my parents are Nigerian, I'm Nigerian American. And this is what they did to her. Girl, congratulations, kudos to you. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. We need accountability. We need accountability. Until we get it into our heads that if there's no accountability when things happen, do you realize that Nigeria will never ever change? The agency, the administrative staff that was responsible for what happened in 2020 Tokyo Olympics, what were the repercussions? What happened when those athletes were disqualified and they weren't able to compete because between the Athletics Federation of Nigeria and the Nigerian Olympics Committee, they failed to provide all of the documentation to show that their athletes had done their doping tests, right? Because that's what their responsibility is. They're the body. They're supposed to do that. So what happened to those administrative staff that did that huge blunder and took away this opportunity from athletes that had worked hours and hours and hours for it? I didn't hear anything about anyone being reprimanded. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear that anyone was asked to leave the agency, the bodies. So mediocre. So bloody mediocre. We need to do better. Our athletes deserve better.